Alright guys, so today I'm coming at you with the topic of something very simple, and it's simply this, the importance of Greek. And I realize if you're watching this, you're probably in a Greek class, most likely a first year Greek class. So I just want to address you guys first and foremost, because if you guys are anything at all like my intermediate Greek class, this is probably a good way of classifying you, is that this is rough. This might not be accurate, but probably 80% of you guys have to take a biblical language. Whether you're a youth ministry major, because personally I'm a youth ministry major and a Greek minor, and you might know this, you might not know this, but the Greek language really gets trashed by youth ministry majors. People say things like, man, I wish I didn't have to take it. I wish so much more that I could take Spanish so I could be able to do mission work. And I'm not trying to bash learning Spanish. I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and that's great. But then there's the 20% of you that are taking Greek. Maybe you have to take Greek, because I had to take Greek, and that's kind of how it started, but maybe 20% of you have a genuine interest. That is not how you spell that word. I'm a horrible speller, but maybe 20% of you have genuine interest. And I just want to address you guys as a pie graph, and address basically both of the different possible population groups that there could be on the importance of Greek. And I just want to kind of show you a few things, which is first, just understanding that even having a first year of knowledge can be vital for Greek. And let me explain why. So there's all these translations out there. The NIV, the ESV, the King James Version. You have translations of translations, and you have summaries. You have the Message. You have the so-called scholarly Bible, the NRSV. And you have all these different versions, and they all do slightly different things. And there's a reason for that. That's because certain statements in the Greek language can be taken multiple ways. And of course, I've heard the argument many times that the people who made the NIV, ESV, King James Version, Message, and the NRSV, they're so much smarter than you are. So if you're just wanting to learn Greek to be able to translate the Bible, then you're stupid, because you don't learn Greek to learn how to translate the Bible. And while there is an aspect of that makes sense, knowing just a very basic amount of Greek is going to make you aware of the differences. And one of the primary differences between these versions is how they take genitives, for example. Now, this is really a very surface level. Imagine that's a pond. Bad jobber. This is a very surface level description of the different ways that genitives could be taken. And if you're really and truly interested, you should look at Porter's idiom book. He goes into more detail on the different ways that genitives could be used. But there's lots. There must be at least 10 different ways that a genitive could be used. And of course, context is going to make the choice more clear. But what if there is not any context? There are times where I've been looking at a portion of text, oftentimes in my intermediate Greek class with Dr. Dvorak, and sorry to use so many pie graphs, pie charts, but this was literally what it looked like. There was like, a 60% chance that should be glossed of the people. And there was a 40% chance that it should be glossed something more along the lines of from the people. Whether it's deriving from them or being a descriptive natured word. And there was evidence for both of them. And I can't go into specific detail just because I don't remember the specific detail, but there have been many times. And if you were to look at versions, these percentages would be reflected in that, again, they're smart people made these. 60% of them probably went one way, right? And then 40% of them may have gone another way. So just being able to understand the differences and look at, okay, this is a genitive. It could be taken these different ways, but it has this word attached to it, so I know it should be taken this way. Or if there isn't that greater context, just knowing a little bit of Greek, these glossing differences can really be a huge semantic difference. Oftentimes they're a small semantic difference. And I like to think that the worst glosses and the worst translations can still do good and can still, and I know they can still do good, and God works through these things. But just, for example, being able to interpret a genitive is huge, and understanding the vagueness or the possible vagueness of a genitive. Now, the other importance of Greek and taking Greek is that it's going to do this, and you may have heard this before, but if you take first year Greek, and second and third, however much Greek you take, it is going to make you know that you don't know enough. And I want to say this, please brace yourself, because this probably could be taken the wrong way, but taking a year of Greek is going to open your mind. It's going to open your mind to the fact that maybe you shouldn't just take your favorite translation, insert NIV, NRSV, ESV. Maybe you shouldn't just take that. Maybe you should say, I don't know enough to give that authority away, and maybe you'll take it upon yourself to learn more. Taking 2 years of Greek, which is how much I've taken so far, and next year I'll be taking my third year, has humbled me. And above all, it's taught me that I don't know that much. I am nowhere near a scholarly level of Greekness. But at the same time, knowing that you don't know very much, and me knowing that I don't know very much and don't know enough to be a scholar, has driven me to get closer to it, and has driven me to get closer to understanding the original meaning of texts. And that has got to be one of the main reasons that anyone would do any sort of exegesis or any sort of disciplinary work in Scripture. And honestly, an argument could be made that should be the reason that we read Scripture, is to understand the original meaning of what God told His people and what God tells us. So these are just two simple examples that I can understand of why someone should take first year Greek, and why even those people who are in the 80%, like I was before I really got fascinated, and who are just taking it because they have to and their major says so, just know that this is important. This is something that you shouldn't blow off, and this is something that if you let it will be something that you will be able to evolve from, and something that will form you. So I hope, I know I've gone off on a rant, but I hope this has been somewhat helpful, and you guys have an awesome day.